How can I, in a graphical way, these are both just graphical ways, show the kinds of decisions that a decision support system will make based on some inputs, right? Like these inputs, what decision you're going to make. That's all. Okay. So it just looks a little unusual. And you may have seen some in the past papers if you looked. Okay. So let's consider you went out for dinner and you wanted to see what decision you would make after the meal was over. Okay. So let's make it really simple. I'm just thinking about two conditions that I want to meet. So I'm going to say conditions. Number one, did the food come on time? Number two, did it taste good? Okay, those are the things I'm interested in, right? So, food prompt. Did it come on time? And food tasty. What was the flavor like? Okay. So, I'm going to do the table first, and then I'll show you what the tree looks like. They're both really simple, okay? When you think about these two different conditions, there's a whole bunch of combinations of ways that I could put these two conditions together. For instance, the food could be late and it could taste awful. Bad restaurant, okay? So to symbolize that on my table, I'm going to have some cells over here. I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll see why in a second, okay? Was the food prompt? No. Was it tasty? No, okay? Now that's not the only combination, right? The food could have arrived on time, but it didn't taste so great. Or they could have made you wait a long time, but it was the most amazing satay you've ever had. Or you could have gotten really, really lucky and it just, you hadn't even finished ordering and then it was already on your table and it tasted amazing. Okay? So here are my combinations. Now, on the basis of how these conditions get met or not met, I'm going to take some actions. Sometimes it gets called decisions, because decision support systems, but it doesn't matter. Okay. Now, this is all part of one big table, so I'm going to put it all together. Now, what actions might we make? Well, I'm just thinking about this first one, okay? You might want to complain. You might say, you made me wait for ages and then it tasted terrible. I'm angry, okay? So there's one of my possible actions as a result of these conditions. Make sense? Maybe you want to tell your friends about this restaurant or not, okay? So there's another action you may or may not take. And you may like to say, I don't know, if a place was really, really amazing, right? You might go online and you might write a positive review about the place that you went to. Post on Facebook or whatever. Okay, so let's just go with those three. Now, let's think about how much of this can I fit. Yes, perfect. Let's think about which ones you would do on the basis of which conditions were met. Okay, so I got 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, now, first situation, food late, food terrible, okay? I think I'm going to complain, right? So yes, I complain, right? Am I going to tell my friends? What do you think? I think I am. Avoid that place like the plague, okay? Don't go there. Am I going to write a good review? Don't think so, okay? So, there's one set of actions that I'll take on one set of conditions, okay? All right, the food arrives on time but doesn't taste great. Am I going to complain? Well, it's not really worth it, I don't think. Am I going to tell my friends? Well, personally, I don't think I would. It doesn't kind of raise an eyebrow for me. It's like, woohoo, the food was so quick and tasted terrible. Whatever, okay. Am I going to write a good review? Not really, okay. So I do nothing in this case if the food arrives on time but doesn't taste good. Was the food prompt? No, but it tasted good. Well, I don't think I'll complain because the food was good. But I'll tell my friends because, good food is worth waiting for, I think. I won't bother writing a review, I don't think, because something has to be really, really good for me to do that. All right, last one. Prompt, tasty, not going to complain. Yes, I'm going to tell my friends. And I'll even go to the effort to go online and actually type some stuff about this place. Right, that is a decision table. Because it's a table and it's got decisions, actions in it, right? And before we go any further, I want to draw your attention to the fact that this column in here, this one here, he's kind of a pretty boring column, right? He's my do nothing column, all right? So in fact, why did I have 4 columns across the top here? You tell me. That's it. These are all of the possibilities, okay? Because 2 bits, maximum number is 4, okay? But some decision tables will not have all of the columns, right? Because ones like this, even though they're possible, it's like, well, yeah, but you don't do anything. So I don't need to put any actions here, okay? So I could just have equally have made a 3-column one, right? And have those options there. Or if there are 3 conditions, there are how many different possibilities in total? 8, because I get all of these and then another set because it could be yes or no, right? But I might not include all 8. I might include just like 3 or 5 or whatever, however many actually make sense. Okay? Right. Now, there's the tree, sorry, there's the table. Let me show you the tree. Again, these are just graphical methods of showing the same thing, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the conditions, oops, that's okay, I'll just leave the color. I'm going to have the conditions running across the top, and I'm going to have the actions, that's terrible, but you'll get it, running across downwards, okay? And what this is going to look like is actually like last year's probability. Sorry. But thankfully there are no fractions, okay? So I had 2 different conditions, prompt and tasty. Right. Prompt, question mark, tasty, question mark, okay? And I'm going to leave some space here because these will result into actions. Now, I'm going to put some dotted lines in between these, not because I have to, but because if you don't, I guarantee your tree will turn out like a disaster, like a lot of people's probability trees do in Year 9, okay? So, prompt. There's 2 possibilities. It is or it isn't. Yes or no. Okay? So I've got 2 branches going like that. See how this is like Year 9 probability? And then again, for taste, I've got 2 possibilities. Right? Branch, branch. Okay? Now all I have to do is go up to the actions that corresponded to those conditions and then say, okay, well, if it was prompt and it was tasty, what did I do again? Well, I think I told my friends and I wrote a review. Okay? What happened if it was prompt but it didn't taste good? Well, I didn't do anything. You can either write that or, like I said before, you can just eliminate that line. If it was late, but it tasted good, I told my friends. I think you're getting the idea, right? But it's the same information, just shown differently. Yep.
Obviously, before do nothing.
Yep.
Do we have to actually write a separate action called do nothing in our table? Because that's actually like this.
It's something, isn't it? Yeah, I see what you mean. Number 1. No. Number 2, usually it's actually that you get given the table, right? So you will not really be in that position. And also, like, you actually, if you have to get, you get rules and you have to make the table, you don't actually know if it's do nothing unless the question is specific because it says, there's an action that's do nothing, which is actually not an action, but have do nothing in there anyway. The short answer is no, because no action is the same as do nothing. Okay?